Hi, everyone. This is Michele Graglia.
This is Marianne Hogan.
Hi, I'm Adrian McDonald.
I'm Katie Asmith.
Hi, this is Anthony Gasals.
Hi, my name is Meg Morgan.
Hey, it's Jordan Trove.
This is John Ray.
This is Ryan Van Duzer, and you are listening to the Gotta Run Racing podcast.
Hey everybody, we're back with another Gotta Run podcast.
Hello, hello.
I'm Norm.
And I'm Jodi.
Your host for the #1 ultra running podcast in Canada. Hey, you know what? I'm just going to throw that out there.
Why not?
Prove me wrong.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, we were glued to this weekend watching live feeds from Leadville 100.
Yes, indeed.
And where was I 10 years ago this weekend?
10 years.
10 years.
Are you kidding me?
Where was I 10 years ago this weekend?
You were running Leadville. I can't believe it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember, well, I don't remember, but what happened at 3 o'clock in the morning, you being here.
At home in bed.
Worrying about me as I was running down Hope Pass. What happened?
I got a phone call from one of the organizers asking if I'd seen you lately. And I said to him, well, I'm not there, but when I checked the app, you were here at this time. Could they not have checked the app? Because I knew where you were by the app.
They thought that I was still stuck on Hope Pass, but when they called you, I was way past Twin Lakes.
Right.
On my way back to the finish line or start line, whatever. Anyway,
yeah, that was interesting.
10 years ago.
Wow, time flies.
My first 100-miler finished in the books. Anyway, what's going on? Oh, wow. We have a Island Lake Classic coming up soon.
Yes, Labor Day Monday. And the swag is arriving this week. I can't wait to show everybody on Instagram and Facebook. We got some pretty sweet swag this year.
Very good. Very good. We got a good turnout. We got 300 people showing up so far.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll have a little bit more by race day.
All right.
It's always fun. It's a beautiful venue. So check it out, guys.
Okay. Island Lake Classic.
Mm-hmm. How's your training going for Lost Soul?
Well, I know that I'll be entering the race with no soul. So I hope that I find my soul.
Oh, boy.
I had lost soul. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
What do? You just train, just run, just do what you can, and you hope for the best on race day. Because that's the hardest thing. It's not the race itself, but it's getting to the start line.
Uninjured.
Yes.
Which I don't know what that feels like. Once again.
What happened to you last weekend?
I don't even want to talk about it. I fell paddle boarding. We decided to go for a 30K paddle. We haven't been on our board since 2022.
Yeah, let's go for 30K. That only took us, 6 hours?
Yeah, 30K paddle on the Nottawasaga to Wasaga Beach. It was stunning. It was beautiful, but I fell in the first hour, banged my knee. I don't know what I did. I tried not to fall, which is what always gets me into trouble. I tried not to fall. I should have just let it happen. And so...
Haven't run since.
Haven't run since.
Very good. That means you are well ready for your race.
So frustrating. Anyways.
Yeah, let's go on to greener pastures. Who's on the podcast today?
Well, today we are speaking to Devin Featherstone, who has run Lost Soul many times, and you kind of want to pick his brain, right?
I do, because every time he ran it, I think he ran it 6 times, and he's always podiumed every time. So I figure, well, why not chat to someone who
knows the course?
And who's podiumed every time he ran it.
Yeah, why not? So we have Devin Featherstone from Calgary, Alberta. He's 39. He's a firefighter and a photographer specializing in portraits. His company is called Feather.photo. And obviously he's an ultra runner with an impressive resume. He's completed the Canadian Death Race, which could potentially be his first ultra, we think.
Could be, which is something in common.
Mm-hmm. He's also completed Hurt, Western States, and he's going for his 7th Lost Soul 100 this year.
Yes, because I'll be attempting Lost Soul next month. And like I said, what better way to know about the course is to chat to someone who has not only completed it so many times, had the course record at one time, but has always podiumed every time.
We've chatted with quite a few people that have done this race. It's great that you're finally going to be running one of Canada's iconic ultras.
Yeah, and also, hey, if I get my 100K done under 21 hours, I get a ticket to Western, which, not a big deal, but hey, why not? Throw it in there.
Well, I'm looking forward to chatting with Devin.
Without further ado, here's Devin coming up.
So welcome to the podcast, Devin, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Before we dig into your ultra running career, we just wanted to acknowledge that this obviously must be a very tough summer for you as a firefighter in Alberta, having witnessed the devastation in Jasper and surrounding communities. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because we have a lot of international listeners as well, and wildfires have been a hot topic, no pun intended, for the last few years, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, I actually used to work as a forest firefighter before I became a structural firefighter. So I sort of have seen it. It's almost gotten worse over the years. I'm not sure if it's just the heat or just human behavior increasing those fires everywhere. We have a place in BC that has fires all around there, and it's sort of one of those things. How close does it get into the town? And even just seeing the news at how fast that fire approached Jasper and how quickly that town had to be evacuated. It's just it's sad to see. You obviously don't want to see that anywhere in your province or anywhere in your country, and especially those beautiful spaces. Even it doesn't matter what type of fire it is, they're devastating for people to have to recover and have to watch that, because as you've probably seen on the news, those fires destroy everything and take everything with it, and people are left with nothing, and you have to rebuild. And it's just sad. But the one thing I will say is that this province and even this country has rallied behind the town and has truly supported them. And you see people doing bottle drives, or I saw something where it's all the tips from this event are going to that people that are affected by that. So people are doing everything they possibly can to help out, and so it's nice to see. So
yeah. We feel for our fellow race directors out in BC and Alberta, because we for one thing we have a hard time wrapping our head around what it's like to be a race director in a mountain event. We've participated in enough of them to know what that entails, but then to add that extra layer of, is there going to be smoke? Are you going to have to reroute the course because of
or even change
damage,
the date,
etc.?
Yeah.
I think that's just sort of the way it's going to be from now on, unfortunately.
Yeah, I even remember, I know we'll talk about Lost Souls, but I even remember a year that I ran Lost Souls. It was I have a photo of myself. It's yellow, the sky is yellow, and then it burned, and they had that. I remember Dean being oh yeah, the people are complaining about the smoke, and do you run your race? Do you not? Do you leave it up to the individual? It's so many unanswered questions that you don't know. And I think hopefully those races that are in those mountain towns, as predicted, there'll be forest fires every summer, and hopefully they stay far enough away from the bigger cities and the towns, and just stay away from that.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a specific charity that you can name that is helping out with the wildfire devastation in your area at all?
I don't know one off the top of my head. I just know I've just heard multiple, just through social media, just these people, this organization is doing this, and I don't know exactly where they're funneling those funds to, or what they're doing for it specifically, but I could always find something out for you if you needed.
Well, I'm sure the Red Cross is involved somehow too, right?
Yeah.
Canadian Wildfire Appeal, isn't it?
Is that what you found?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to put that in our show notes, just
okay.
If anybody can donate to the help out the cause.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah. It's just part of the job. So
yeah.
that's what we signed up for. That is to help people.
Okay, let's talk about some happy times. Ultra running.
Yeah. However you look at that, it can be happy at times.
So when did you start running, and how did you get into the ultra scene?
Oh, I always laugh at I started running when you're weird when you started running that distance. Like, oh, I'm running 100 kilometers. Like, what's wrong with you? And so that was, I guess, 13 or 14 years ago. So I actually, if you see me in person, I don't probably look like a runner. I'm 6'3", 200 plus pounds. I used to play professional hockey my whole life. I obviously stopped playing hockey. I was living the dream, as I call it. I wanted to get a career and decided that, I just need to challenge myself in a different aspect of my life. So I found a couple of these ultra marathons and was like, oh, this might be interesting. So I asked my dad if he'd want to do like a team race where he ran 30K, I ran 50K, sort of weirdly fell in love with it. And then just decided, well, I'm just going to run this race, the death race. It sounds cool, as you've heard of it before. And I just threw it out there to my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. And she's, yeah, sounds good. I'll come along for the ride. And just sort of tried to navigate sort of the, I'm not going to call it weird training. Like it's a different type of training. It's just different. At that time, there was not a ton of information on what to do, what not to do, what gear to use. I remember in the death race, I was using ski poles because they didn't have awesome collapsible light poles. I'm just running with ski poles. And I remember hating that race when I was in that because of the pain. You guys have experienced it. I finished it. This is awesome. Let's sign up for 10 more. And it just sort of went down sort of every year, just adding something. And I even remember being like, I'll never run 100 milers. I've ran 100 milers. Like it's, I'm not going to say, oh, I'm never going to run a 200K or 200 miles because you just never know. But it just snowballed into some insane passion of mine. And I love pushing myself and seeing what I'm made of in certain situations. And I've met a lot of awesome, unique people throughout that journey, and and some really good friendships that I've had from day one, and I love it. It's a weird love-hate relationship.
Well, that's what we have in common, because my first ultra marathon was the Canadian Death Race as well.
Okay,
back in 2005. So when you talk about not having the right gear or couldn't find.
You're
about 10 years before that.
It's funny because it's all everybody wants the answers to everything, and I'm honestly, you just gotta go figure it out on your own.
Yeah,
I mean, you can give some tips, but at the same time, you gotta really go to hell and back and figure out what your secret sauce is, because everybody's different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you find your background as a competitive athlete helped you when you were getting into the endurance aspect of running, or were you immediately shocked that it didn't help?
I think it did. I am obviously not like I said, I don't look like an ultra marathon runner. So I've been very fortunate to be healthy and not go through injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that life of beating myself up in a different sport has sort of helped transition over. Obviously, being an insanely competitive person has also transitioned over. So I think honestly it's helped, and it's also helped to understand the proper way to train and the proper way to take rest and listening to your body, because I think those three things are huge for the sport, where I think it can be done incorrectly and it can take a toll on people's bodies.
It's also a benefit at the start line when you don't look like an ultra runner, because people can underestimate you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I even had that at Western States, where the guy that was pacing me, everybody thought he was the runner, and I'm just, no, it's actually me, but you can think that, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there. But from your very first ultra, you ran some iconic Canadian ultra marathons. Since then, you ran the Sinister 7, the Squamish. But then you did something crazy and took on Hurt. What made you decide to leave Canada and take on Hurt, this incredible beast?
Of all races.
Well, I love Hawaii. My wife works for WestJet, so we visited that, basically all the islands. I can't even count, to be honest. So I love Hawaii. I actually proposed to my wife in Hawaii. We named our son after like a Hawaiian name, and I saw a picture of it, and that looks insane. I'm up for a challenge. I'm going to try to get into this race. I was very fortunate to get into it before it feel like it's probably even harder to get into it now. But I just wanted a different challenge, and it's challenging on so many levels because it's January. Well, obviously it's like -30 can be here. So it's like challenging to train. I actually did opposite. I skied. Actually, like backcountry skied. I was skiing for 6-8 hours, time on my feet. Totally different. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to a yoga studio. I asked a yoga studio if I could just hang out in the hot yoga room just to get acclimatized to the heat. And then I flew over there with a buddy to pace me, and I took it on. It was honestly probably one of the hardest races I've done. And it's just like, you've seen photos of those routes and just like the terrain. And I was trying to tell my pacer, I'm like, man, you got to see this course. He's like, yeah, it's probably nothing. And then he's just, what is going on with this? And the routes are like, I don't even know how to sprain my ankle over 100 miles. But it was honestly, that's probably one of my top races I've done. Just and of course, you got to be next level cuckoo to run 5 laps. Like a lapped course is just pure torture.
Oh, no.
Well, that was 2016. That was the year Jeff Browning took on Gary Robbins, I think, head to head.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But you did pretty good there too. You did finish top 10. And so did you know who they were though? Did you know who you're towing the line with at the time? Did these?
Yeah. I actually, because I did the Gorge 100K, and I actually knew Gary, and we camped together.
Okay.
We ran that race, I'm not gonna say together because he was like a little bit way ahead of me. But I sort of, because I did the Squamish 50-50 and sort of met him through there, and then just sort of kept in touch. And it was nice that he sort of like, he's like, oh, I know who you are. I'm like, oh, you know who this giant man that's trying to run really far? It was a big compliment. But yeah, he's a super impressive runner, and it was just insane to watch those two go toe to toe, fast, hard on such a technical hard course, and just being, oh, they finished 10 hours before you did. And it's impressive. So yeah.
And a couple years later, you did Western in under 24 hours. How long had you been trying to get into Western at that point?
You probably know the answer to that better than I do, but it was way too long. But you know what? I remember being super irritated because I've done Lost Souls 3 times to qualify. Why am I not getting in 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times? Oh, I'm in. I honestly, and I tell people this, it's almost like a blessing in disguise, because those 700K and all those other ultra marathons I did helped prepare for Western States. I honestly don't think you want to go to Western States running your first qualifier and then going there, because I'm like, that's a race you want to finish. You want that belt buckle.
Yeah.
You want to finish it, and you don't want to go there and just, I wasn't prepared. I hadn't, and those races are hard to just really prepare for, especially in different climates, and get used to that heat. So I honestly, I'll say it's like a blessing in disguise that I had to work a little extra for those tickets, but it's all in the preparation.
I'm fascinated by the people who get in and it's their first 100 mile. That would terrify me.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrify.
I mean, yeah, exactly what you said. Terrify you, and just I feel like it's unneeded stress
right
on you, and you try to just keep it as simple as possible, if that's even a thing in an ultra marathon. But
So how was your overall experience that year, 2018?
honestly, it was a long time coming. It was a long time coming. It was chasing something forever. You're working so hard. You want it so bad. It honestly was one of the greater races that I've experienced, because I had a good friend who came down to pace me, and he had previously ran it. He had the experience and the knowledge, and just, you know, you guys have done stuff together. You've done stuff with friends, and I think when you go through tough, hard times with your friends, it makes you stronger. It's that experience.
Yeah.
You know, I remember crossing that river crossing. I had never experienced a river crossing like this. Get onto the other side, and we packed a big tall boy PBR, and I crushed a lot of the beer, gave him some beer, and then we just changed shoes and we just carried on and ran. And we laugh at some of those memories where he's the same one that paced me at Hurt 100. And, oh yeah, I knew when to not talk to talk to you, because I knew you were just in that mood. And I'm like, oh well, thank you. And so I think the overall experience, it was just unbelievable coming into that town and running around that track and just realizing what you accomplished. You ran on the same course that a ton of these amazing athletes have ran on, and just the amount of people that go to the grinder just to finish that is just amazing to me. And just to be part of that, I look it back and I'm like, I might not ever have another opportunity like that to do that race. And, you know, I'm just glad to have that silver belt buckle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, that was one thing we were going to point out, is the fact that what other sport can you line up against the pros and compete with, and actually have them talking to you and supporting you throughout the event? Like, you can't name another sport where that happens.
Yeah, I even remember running in Western States, and I'm feeling good, climbing the big climb, and I see Dean Kinesys, and I'm, ooh, why am I feeling like I don't want to pass this guy? Yes, he's a little older now, but this guy's like the boss of ultramarathon. You know, you start getting in your head, you're like, well, I feel good. Then that guy knows what he's doing. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy too. Some of the people you meet and you come across, and from all over the world, it's a really unique sport.
Sure is.
And is that the reason why you did Lost Souls so many times, was because of Western was your target?
It was, yeah. It was close to Calgary. I personally love the course. I think it's a little underrated. I think people think like, oh, it's not going to be that hard. Yeah, okay, you come try it. You go into that with that thought, it's gonna break you. And my second part is like, I honestly, like, I love Dean. I love Dean and his team. They put an unbelievable race on. When you guys go, like, I know you've talked to Dean lots. When you go, you'll just see, you come into the aid stations, it has that, the volunteers are pumped to see you. People are cheering you on. Everything's great about it. I'm not thrilled when I'm going through my moment at Lost Souls and Dean's always laughing. And I'm just like, man, I am so glad for the 7th time I'm not doing the 100-miler, because if I had to go for another lap, no thank you. I can barely walk. I can barely walk after 100K. So yeah.
And the first time you ran it in 2013, you actually beat Alyssa St. Laurent, who's an incredible runner. What do you remember from that first year?
Oh man, that's so long ago. I just remember I've had it a couple times where there's insanely talented women that are running, and you're honestly just trying to keep up. Anybody running that is. I just remember we were sort of going back and forth, and I can't remember if it's 2013. I can't even remember, but there was one year where both of us got a record for the course record. Mm-hmm. I just remember looking at him, you're gonna go somewhere with this, and she did. She crushed some pretty insane races. Mm-hmm. So
sure
I'd actually love to see her pop up in Lost Souls again.
I was gonna mention that if you could somehow contact her and just to see you two toe the line together, because I think she beat you one year, you beat her one year.
Yeah.
And you have to now do a tie break, but
yeah. We're all like, we're old and frail now.
Hey, you're not even 40 yet. Just
Come
your
on.
weight.
I know. That's what my dad says.
Now you've ran it so many times. Is there, out of all the times you've ran it, is there any interesting or funny stories you can think of out of the many times you've been there that just pops up your head?
Yeah, there's two races that are probably sort of, I'm going to say the ones I mostly remember. There's a guy, his name's Carl Price. He's an unreal runner. He's obviously a bit older than I am, but I remember racing him and I'm just trying to keep up to him and just, we're both grinding out and I have my team, you're not far off from him. I'm like, okay, like let's keep going. And I come into the aid station. I've caught up to him and I look over and he's drinking homogenized milk out of the jug. And I'm just, and it's 40 degrees. And I'm, man, how are you gutting a big thing of milk and continuing to run? But that was his thing. And I was just, like that coming to that aid station, like I always remember that. I'm just, okay, that's his way of doing these things. And like, I'm not going down that road. But, and then the other one was Mike Moore. He is a phenomenal racer. Unfortunately, his wife passed away a couple weeks ago. So my thoughts go to him, but he was a phenomenal racer, and we went toe to toe right up to, I think it was kilometer 96, and it was just back and forth, and it was honestly line it and just be done. And I just remember we got to the sort of the final climb, and he just looked at me and he's just bent over and he's, dude, I'm done. I can't even push it. He just shakes the hand. He goes, go give her, man. And I'm just, oh man, like, I was about to do that. And he slept in that position on that last climb for 3 hours.
Whoa.
And his wife Abby actually ran past him and finished. And I'm just, Abby, where's Mike? And he's messed up. He couldn't even walk that 4 kilometers. He was so messed up. And I just look at that as it's just pure competition and competitive, and like a good competitive way. It was just, we earned those finishes. So those are the two things that I truly remember from that Lost Souls. So
we actually did hear about Abby through social media because we were out in Blairmore for Meet the Minotaur, and then it wasn't long after that. It was really sad to hear about that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now we know that they give out these crazy 20-pound river rocks on the podium.
Yeah.
What have you done with those?
Whether you're running a marathon, hitting the trails, or just getting started, Kinesys Sunscreens deliver maximum performance with minimum effort. Formulated for sport, Kinesys eliminates what you hate most about sunscreen. It doesn't sting the eyes, is light and silky on the skin, stays on for 80 minutes even when you're sweaty, and is super easy to apply. Kinesys is small but mighty and recognized by the best. Their SPF 50 fragrance-free is the world's first ever Informed Sport certified sunscreen and a Runner's World USA Editor's Choice year after year. Owned by Aussie couple Wade and Lisa, Kinesys has been proudly made in Canada for over 25 years. You can find Kinesys at select retail partners across Canada or online through their website, kinesysactive.ca. Search Kinesys Active. That's Kinesys Active. And you can save 5% when ordering through the Kinesys website using our Gotta Run Racing affiliate link, which you can find in the show notes. Love staying active? Kinesys has you covered.
Oh, wow. My wife jokes about, she's like, you can pick a sport that, maybe got some money or a prize. These like rocks in the garden. And I just have them all lined up in my garden.
Aww.
And I tried to flip them so you can see each year and sort of what's happening with wherever I finished or whatever. Like I can't even keep track. But there's a lot of them, and I just always laugh. I always chuckle when I get that email, like, do you want customized rock? I'm like, I think I'll just keep a normal run. So
that's very unique. Very
yeah,
unique.
It is.
Well, we don't usually ask these type of questions on our podcast, but since it's my first time going to Lost Soul, And if anybody out there is listening who's first ultra or first time at Lost Soul like myself, we're going to ask these type of questions. So are you ready?
And because you're the best person to ask.
Okay, question number 1. What the hell am I getting myself into?
Oh, you just wait. You just wait. I don't know if the first lap is. You're doing the 100K, right? You're not doing the 100 mile.
100K.
Yeah. So okay. Well, at least you're smart enough to not do the 100 mile. So just Hopefully it's a cool day. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Can you describe the course? Is it never ending rolling up and down?
The course. So you first start out, you got a bit of climbing, not too much. I would say the first 5K, it's probably better described as that first 5K is sort of seed everybody where they're going to be for the first little bit. I always take it pretty lightly because it's just like you're warm up into your long day ahead. And then you just start going up some punchy climbs. One punchy climb, some flat, down, punchy climb. And you spend the majority of the first part of the race just going up and down and up and down. And you might get some break from that with some flat on top of those hills.
Okay.
And you get to run under this beautiful train bridge, which I hope you guys have Googled because it's a pretty magnificent train bridge. And then once you get to the end, that's where you go into that, I believe it's like about a 16K loop. That's the longest time you run without aid. And that can be pretty treacherous depending on the heat. It doesn't sound far, but just those punchy climbs, they take a lot out of you. And then once you sort of are at the farthest point in that race, it becomes basically all flat and it's runnable. So that's where I find it's underrated. You think you can just hammer up, 20, 30 punchy climbs, and then, you don't want to be walking on the flats. You want to try to keep some momentum so that that you can run the flats, and then you throw in a couple punchy climbs, and then you're done your first loop.
Nice.
And of course, Dean's put this nice steep hill right before the finish line, so it's always just one extra grind right before the finish. And then you guys got to do it twice. So at least the first lap you can get what you're coming up to the next lap. But you'll have fun.
Now, can someone run this with a handheld, or do you recommend a pack?
So I think a water pack, I think it just adds unnecessary weight and potential chafing issues, especially with the heat. Obviously the more heat that's there, the sweatier you're going to get. When I've had the best success at Lost Souls, I've just carried hand bottles. I've carried one hand bottle because the aid stations are so close together. And then on that 16K loop, depending on how I've felt, I've either taken 2 hand bottles or I've just taken, it's rare that I've taken a water pack on that.
Okay.
The only way I was wearing a vest was because I was putting ice down the back to keep myself cool.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
He really wants to do it with
I just want to do it with a handheld.
handhelds.
Yeah. I honestly, like, it's doable. The very first year that I was fortunate enough to win it, I just carried 2 hand bottles, and I just made sure that I was eating on top of that in the aid stations and just making sure that when I got to those aid stations, those bottles were done and focused on that. Because I think as you have your experience, there's times where you start running and you start forgetting to drink, potentially eat, and that just snowballs. So it's as long as you're on it. I do find that 2 bottles is hard to fully consume when you're running 7K. That, depending on your pace at that time, are you going to crush a liter of water in 45 minutes? That's probably not beneficial, but 2 hand bottles is plenty, I think.
Well, that answers the next question, poles or no poles, because you can't use poles and have 2 handhelds. But do a lot of people use poles?
I wouldn't say a lot of people. I think it depends on how you are at climbing. I personally think if you've mastered sort of your power hiking, the hand, especially if you have bottles, it's hands on your knees, just grind up and then go. I honestly truly find that this race is not a pole race, because it's like then you're either carrying them to the next climb, and then when you get to the flat part, are you gonna carry them, or are you trying to stuff them in? It's just, I don't know. Maybe it can be, yeah, maybe it can distract your mind, but I think I would go no poles.
Yeah,
okay.
good.
And shoes, rock plate or no rock plate?
Ooh, I've done, okay, so I have experimented with this. I wear Brooks Cascadias. They have a pretty rugged rock plate in them. So I've worn those there, found that it's not necessary. I wear road shoes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's good. Good to know.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually wear, because it's not rocky. It's just dirt, like dirt hills. And then I wanted something that I could just try to motor the best I could on that backside. So I mean, I have a pretty beefy, squishy trail shoe, but I wear it as a road running shoe right now. And I have, so basically I've worn road shoes there.
Wow,
Whether it's
interesting.
the right thing or not, but it's different.
And there's no tree cover. It's wide open.
No, you have tree cover for probably like 300 meters closer to the finish line.
Wow.
Yeah, it is completely open. And so in Lethbridge, those coulees, it's actually hotter in the valley bottom. So like I've raced there and it's been 42 degrees. So just my other recommendation on top of that is just look at the weather and just have a plan in case those temperatures climb, because that can truly ruin your race big time if you're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for answering those rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Like I said, we usually don't ask them because it's whatever, but
Everybody's training differently. It's doesn't really.
there's no point to ask those type of questions. But now you saved someone from getting to the finish line, so thank you for that.
Yeah, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there.
And you can do carry on because you don't need poles.
Yeah, I'm not doing polls.
Yeah, good call.
Now, it's been a minute since you've run at Lost Soul. What brings you back this year?
I had some crazy goal set to break a Guinness record a couple of years ago. I guess that would have been right when sort of COVID hit. And that took a massive toll on me. I didn't accomplish the Guinness record. I accomplished the race and did something insanely hard. It took a toll on me, and I don't want to say it crushed me. It just came to a point where I just needed a break. I still ran, still did some stuff, but I think I just needed a break from everything. And I spent some time exploring with some buddies and trying some other, my son's big into mountain biking. So I did some more stuff on my mountain bike and did some like endurance events on my bike, and sort of just, I do like racing. And I sort of was chatting with my buddy and just sort of said, let's plan something for ourselves that maybe is our own ultra marathon. So we planned this epic 100-mile route that had over 10,000 meters of climbing. And we went out and we ran and had an experience together. And I think after doing that, we both needed to get back into doing some races. And so we started training. We were talking like, well, what races do we love? I just always come back to Lost Souls. It's a good race. It's in September. You have the summer to enjoy training. You're not training in the middle of the winter. I love the race directors and the volunteers and just where it is. So that's why I'm coming back to it. And I've had some experiences and some fun and some I hate my life moments at that race. And I think it's just time to get back at it.
Nice.
Yeah, but now everyone's going, oh shit, Devin's back. Devin's back. Where has he been? He's back now. We're gonna watch him.
I'm excited to see some of the new faces. I always love the very start of the race and watching how people go out in their pace and just it's entertaining, and I'm excited to maybe meet some new people and maybe some run pals. And you know what? As you guys have experienced this, every race, you do meet different people. You run around some people, or you run together for a bit of it. And I think those experiences, you can't really replicate those anywhere else other than a race. And I think that's sort of what I'm excited to sort of see. My buddy laughed because he did a race, and he's, we're not even 40, and the guy, oh, you've been doing this for a long time. You're like, you're like mentors, like you're like those old guys. And we're like, yeah, we're not even that old. Like, so we've been doing it 13, 14 years or whatever. Because now there's this younger generation coming to do this, and they're full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
It's I always joke, I'm like, I got the dad strength, right? Like, I got a kid. I'm sleep deprived. I'm grinding out when I'm like, we're ready to battle. So I'm excited to come and just to have fun and see all the new faces too. So
now, chances are you're going to get a ticket to Western. Will you put your name in the hat for Western? Come on.
Yeah, of course I will. Of course I would. I would laugh too if it was my first ticket I get in. I'd just be like, oh, shocker how that works. But yes, I will. I'm not going to waste that ticket.
Well, Norm promised me he wouldn't do any 100-milers after Western. And yet he still does these qualifying races where he could just put his name in the hat and see what happens.
Yeah. It's a lottery. So it's, the chances, you got to play the odds.
Well, I can't wait to meet you in person. Now I'm going to be looking up at you.
Yeah.
But maybe after the race, we could go for a beer and share some stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I will try to come find you. I mean, I'll try to not be as intense as I normally am before I start the race. I do like to joke around and have fun. So
cool.
Now, you mentioned the record that you were going after a few years back, but we also read that I assume during training you tried the David Goggins 4x4x48 in your firefighter gear. Is that right?
Yes, I did it. That was sort of I'd say part of my training for that marathon record in the gear. So I had sort of thrown it out there to the community and some people that I don't want to say I David Goggins them, but who's going to carry the boats? Like, let's do it. So there's a couple of people in town that we met and we ran together, and it's interesting because I thought it was going to be super challenging, but realizing doing hurt and being up for almost 28 hours running and just, you want to fall asleep standing up. It was honestly challenging. I'm not saying it wasn't challenging, but it was almost nice that I could come home and sleep for a few hours and get back at it. It was just, it's good training. It's good mental training. Running in your fire gear, people are just like, what are you doing? This is lunatic running on the pathways in fire gear and a helmet and boots. And you're like, sorry, I'm not crazy.
Wow. Lots of adventure. And your family's pretty adventurous too. I did kind of a deep dive on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Your son is very courageous for some of those videos that I watched on his bike. Wow.
Yeah.
What a great role model he has.
Yeah. I mean, he's inspiring. He's gotten me back on the bike, and he's trying, he tries like, oh, Dad, you should try that. I'm old. I need to work and take care of you. And, I can't be in a full body cast. So I'll just watch you. His mom's super adventurous. She was on a reality TV show this past year, and she went and did a survival challenge in the jungle in Colombia. So we have a crazy household. I don't know if we're all trying to one up each other or see who's the most hardcore, but I think your mom's the most hardcore for doing a survival challenge for 21 days in the jungle. So we'll just sit back and.
How did she do? Can we watch that now?
Yeah. It's on Discovery Plus.
Okay.
Naked and Afraid. You have it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. She survived 21 days.
Wow.
And I was super proud of her, and I just sort of said, well, the torch has been passed to you. My ultra marathon days, and this looks quite minor compared to what you just went through. So,
Yeah, would you do something like that?
well, she actually originally tried to sign me up for the show. She's like, "Oh, you're intense and crazy. You do this," and then she was, "Screw that, I could do this." And she applied, and they liked. And I was, "Yeah, that's the mentality you have to have. Like, you can do it."
Yep.
And she did it, and
Wow.
just a good all around thing for my son to witness too. And
Yeah.
you got to work hard to succeed in all aspects of life. So, and it rubs off on him. He has a pretty good work ethic, and hopefully not getting our crazy competitive edge.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I won't be able to get to meet you in person, and I'm not coming to Lost Soul this time around, but
Right.
we wish you well, and I'll look for the picture of you and Norm sharing a beer at the finish line.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the time that you took to chat with me. So,
yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for giving him the tips.
no worries. Yeah, he'll survive. He'll get through it. It'll be.
Where did I put my GoPro?
You guys, you put it on your water bottle.
There you go.
Pointed right up at your face, so you got like that selfie. Watch my 100K race, just all my facial expressions.
All right. Well, before we let you go, Devin, we like to do some fun rapid fire questions. Okay, so just bear with us here for a sec. Do you have any tattoos?
Oh yeah, I have lots. Yeah.
Any running related tattoos?
No.
Not yet?
No, none. No, they're all like artwork that I've drawn and some cover-ups of some young bad decisions. And, yeah.
What's the last concert you went to?
Stevie Nicks.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Fleetwood Mac?
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, I waited 3 years when she canceled. Yeah, I got huge Stevie. I love Stevie Nicks, even her solo album. So yeah, that was the last concert we went to. She was unreal. As a 75-year-old, she was unbelievable.
I saw Fleetwood Mac in the 80s.
Yeah, I bet you. Oh yeah, that would be even. Yeah, that would be a good experience.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh man, I'm gonna age myself here. Rum raisin.
Oh,
you're the second person to say that.
That is so funny. Who said that? And it was such a throwback.
It was Brad from our last show.
Yes, you're right. It was Brad.
Yeah, people are just like, rum raisin? Like what? I'm like, it's so good.
Can you even buy that anymore?
Oh yeah. In every ice cream shop, they're just They'll give you extra too, because probably no one eats it.
2 for 1 sale.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if that's a Canadian thing.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I definitely haven't seen that in the States.
No.
Oh.
And that answers the butter tart question, with or without raisins.
No raisins. I'm a raisin. Yeah.
Would you rather be a professional writer, painter, or musician?
Well, based on all my feedback from my wife on my writing skills, I definitely wouldn't be a writer. I'd probably be a painter.
Painter?
Yeah.
Nice. What's a race on your bucket list in another country?
Other than the States as well.
Yeah, forget the States.
Oh man. For a long time there, I honestly wanted to run UTMB. I think just to be able to be in that landscape and just experience those monstrous mountains. But I think I'd honestly to even do some races in the UK. Just some I love super technical, challenging descents. Even like, I don't want to say like running on ridges, but I like that technical type of race. So something even in like the UK, honestly, like they're sort of known for some techie, rugged
fell running.
Yeah. So I just like that. It's more engaging. You're sort of dialed the whole time. So
yeah,
I think you definitely need poles for those races.
yeah, exactly.
All right, Norm, last one.
Pick a superpower that you'd like to have.
Ooh, a superpower. Can I say not aging?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mortality?
Yeah, mortality. Yeah.
I would love
Mortality.
that.
Yeah.
At what age? What age would you like to stop?
Yeah.
30, I would say 35.
35. Good age.
With a little bit of experience, but still some pep in your step.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, Devin, thank you so much. Good luck at Lost Soul.
Thank you very much for the time and asking me to do this. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll
For
see
sure.
you there. All
Yeah.
right,
See you guys.
cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And that was Devin Featherstone giving us the insights of Lost Soul.
Well, how do you feel? Do you feel more prepared now?
Yeah, I really wanted to do this with just handhelds, but I also wanted to record it. So I'm going to have to bring a pack.
And make a last minute decision?
No, I'm going to bring a pack just to carry my GoPro and my batteries.
Oh.
But
And handhelds?
I'm going to just bring a pack just because I want to record everything. So it's unfortunate, but hey, you know what?
Well, I'm glad you're recording it because I want to see it too.
Yeah. So,
For sure.
and all our legions of 3 fans want to see it too.
Because you're going to do a virtual of the course?
Yeah, I'll do a virtual and I'll do, yeah. So I'm gonna bring it back. But hey, no pulls, and I think I'm gonna change my shoes up now
Yes.
because I was thinking I'd wear my Brooks rather than my Hokas.
There you go. Well, I'm excited to see what Devin does because he hasn't run this race in 5 years, and he's obviously been doing some epic training in between,
Yeah,
and he's got quite the resume for racing. But I love it when people are underestimated because they don't fit the mold of what people think an ultra runner should look like. And that goes back to the very first marathon I ever watched you run. Everyone crossing the finish line broke the mold of what I thought a marathon runner would look like. That's how I started.
yeah.
I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to meeting Devin and can't wait to see him at the start line. And maybe I'll run with him for,
Half a second?
I'm going to go for 3 minutes.
Try for 3?
Yeah, try for 3 if he holds back a bit.
Oh my goodness. The coolies are waiting for you.
Yeah, up and down, never ending, rolling. Great.
And wide open. It sounds like the desert.
It sounds, yeah, from what I did hear from other racers that we chatted with, it's usually a hot day.
Yeah.
Be prepared for that. And looking forward to it. It's what, 2 weeks away? Is it 2 weeks away?
3 weeks.
Okay, God.
You got 3 weeks left.
I got 3 weeks to start training.
Oh boy.
And hope that anyone who's listening to this podcast and going to be at Lost Soul for the first time, that this sort of helped you out of what to bring and what to wear. All right.
And if you enjoyed our chat with Devin, please leave us a like, a rating, or a review. We really appreciate it. Until next time.
Cheers. Bye.